Kakadosh Boker Tov, Shudra Mansur Shlita. We're just going to continue with Siman Daled. Now we are on Seif Tedvav and Tedzayin. Maran brings down Yashan Bayam, if a person is going to come and he's going to sleep during the day. So Yeshli Stapek, we have a doubt if a person has to do Netilat Yadayim, Shalosh Pe'amim, and therefore he comes and he says you should do Netilat Yadayim without a beracha. Now what exactly is the doubt if a person comes and he sleeps during the day? The doubt is does the nighttime cause the Ruach Tumah, or does the sleep cause the Ruach Tumah? Which means, what's causing the Tumah? Is it the night, that it's an inyan in the nighttime, or is it the sleep? So therefore, if you're going to tell me it's a nighttime, you're sleeping during the day. If you're going to tell me to sleep, you're sleeping. So therefore, here he does bring down that the Kaf HaChaim holds like the Mekubalim, which basically that if a person sleeps during the day, there's no Ruach Ra, Shoreh, Ala Yashem Bayom, but nevertheless, he's still doing Netilat Yadayim 3 times, right, without a beracha. Okay, and on this type of Netilat Yadayim, the Ben Ish Chai says that you don't need all the halachot of the Netilat Yadayim, which means that it doesn't have to be inside of a kli, you could do it on the floor, right? Certain halachot that regular Netilat Yadayim you cannot do, here it's not as stringent. Now, this that we just mentioned now that we're talking about, is specifically, says the Mishnah Berurah, if you slept during the day, shitini shmeh. If you slept during the day, there's again, the Biur Halacha brings down 3 different shitot, whether it's going to be 3.5 minutes, whether it's going to be 30 minutes, it's going to be even a few hours, but we hold usually it's going to be half an hour, which means that if a person comes and they're going to sleep, shitin nishmeh is the 60 respirations of what a horse comes and he's going to be breathing, right, in the amount of time. How long does it take? So therefore, that's what's considered sleeping. If you slept less than half an hour, there's nothing what to talk about. And that's why the Sif Tetzayin comes and he says, David היה נזהר שלא לישון שיטין נשמין. David HaMelech was very careful never to sleep more than the 60 neshimot, כדי שלא ייטום טעם מיתה, in order, right, that he shouldn't taste the taste of death. Now here the Rama brings down that it's mashma that he only was machmid during the daytime, not during the nighttime to sleep this. However, though, that's what's brought down. Now, what's the reasoning of his minhag? So here there's a sefer called, right, Sha'arei Arukah, that he says that David HaMelech was madir shena me'enav. He actually made a neder not to sleep. What does that mean? Kol yamav, all his life, kedei le'anot et atzmo, in order to afflict himself. U'lishtatef bekach betzar ha'shechina asher en la menucha beizman ha'galut. So therefore what he did is that he actually came and he afflicted himself in order not to sleep a nice, good sleep. Why? He says the Shekhinah, right? The Shekhinah is suffering. The divine providence of Hashem is suffering all the time. How could it be that I'm going to come and go on my bed and enjoy myself a nice sleep if the Shekhinah is always suffering? So therefore, what did he do? We just finished learning Nidarim. He was Madir Shena. He comes and he says, so he's not going to sleep. So now again, less than the less than the 60 aspiration, the respirations of the horse is not considered sleeping. So therefore he comes, and that's why he was makpid, never to sleep more than a half an hour. Right? There is also another explanation here that he brings down, that's the explanation why the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah says, David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam. Why did it say David Yisrael Chai V'Kayam? Because he never tasted the taste of death. He was never dead. Every single one of us, when we go to sleep in the nighttime and we sleep more than half an hour, so we know we taste a 60th of death. There is a taste of death. At the end of the day, sleep is death. Right? Somebody once said, if you think about it, we're actually dead a third of our lives. But if a person comes and they sleep for 8 hours every single night, right? The Rambam says 8 hours, Ben Ish Chai brings down you should do at least 7. There's a whole thing. But if a person, think about it, if you're sleeping 8 hours every single night, that means a third of the day, we are, okay, we don't like to call ourselves dead, but it's technically speaking, mamash, it's a taste of death, right? That's what a person is. So just to understand. So David HaMelech, he never tasted this taste of death. And because of that, he was always written, David Melech Yisrael, Chai V'Kayam. Now why is this halakha so important? Because here the halakha Berurah actually brings down and he says, when we're talking about here the importance of not sleeping, right, of the shitin nishmeh and everything that he says, he comes and he says, if a person slept during the day, he does Netilat Yadayim 3 times, right, lesurugim, when he wakes up, but again, without Netilat Yadayim. If he sleeps during the day, shenat arai, for example, less than a half an hour, or shelo yashan al mitato, Remember that the video said is going to Shitato that if you don't sleep on your bed, so it's not considered a Shenat Keva. It's always considered Shenat Arai, even if you slept more than half an hour. So what does that mean? For example, sometimes it happens, right, that, for example, the rabbi speaks, and I'm going to take too long in the drasha, and all of a sudden you have a few people that they come, and they start putting their heads down. Now the rabbi took his time, and he spoke more than half an hour. And now what happens is, the person wakes up, and they all told the person as a joke, no, Netilat Yadayim, it was more than half an hour, go ahead. According to this, what Rav David Yosef is saying is, just like if you sleep less than half an hour, you don't need to do during Netilat Yadayim whatsoever, so too if you're going to sleep not on a bed, which means it's going to be Shenat Arai, you do not need to do Netilat Yadayim whatsoever, even though it's going to be more than half an hour. So therefore, it comes out that it's very important, this halachav shiti nishmeh, and if you remember, we did mention the other day, the Gaon Mivilna. The Gaon Mivilna used to sleep 2 hours, right, every single day. But he used to do it in half an hour intervals. Why did he do also half an hour intervals? For the same thing. And the rest of the time, he always had his feet in cold water. Because the feet in cold water was always to take away, right, the Yetzer Ra. So therefore, he always had his feet, right, in buckets of cold water. That's just, but again, this is obviously the Gaon. We don't have many Gaonim in these days. But just so the person should understand the concept that, again, during the day, if a person comes and he does a siesta, he takes a nap. So therefore, one more time, if it's going to be more than half an hour and it's going to be on his bed, he's going to come and he's going to do Netilat Yadayim without a beracha. If it's going to be less than half an hour, or it's more than half an hour but it's not on his bed, it's going to be on the stender, it's going to be wherever it is that it's going to be, so then in such a case, he does not do Netilat Yadayim whatsoever. And this was the concept of David HaMelech being careful, just so you should understand the concept of Shitin Nishmeh, the rest of the aspirations of the horse, that's considered exactly a true sleeping or not, that a person tastes the 1/60th of death when he goes to sleep. That's only going to be after sleeping for Shitin Nishmeh.